What?
Ooh, that's
Oh
the hardest
man.
song on the network, bro. I just want
I
to put
was
that out there, bro.
I was about to ask you. I was about to say, if you had to pick one of the two intros, this or Clutch Corner, which intro do you like better?
Whoo! That clutch corner slap. But I think I got to go with the extra
Yeah.
yard. That, bro, it's not pandering or anything. Y'all beat just knocks, bro. Y'all can
I
attest to
will.
this. Y'all can see me in the background. Every time it come on,
Yep.
bro, I am going ham back there because I got these AirPods in. That thing knocking in my ear.
Yes, that is good to hear. Well, welcome back to another episode of The Extra Yard. I am Michael Christian. I'm joined by Kai Chen Chisholm, and of course, joined by Royal Flores. Whoa, that was quick. We got the
what's
dono.
up?
Y'all got
You
the
didn't say
leader of
hi
the
to me?
Council of Kings. So my guy Kai at camp yesterday, man, looked focused AF, so I let him cook.
So
Hey,
can
well,
I
if you're
give a
gonna be
quick
there,
background?
Yeah.
Can I get a quick background? That is Kendall Smith. Kendall Smith is one of the newest hosts of the Clutch Corner. Kendall, great dude, extremely good basketball mind. If Kai is good people, Kendall, you see Kai, go up
Kendall,
there, go up to
bro.
him, talk to him. Link. But I
Kendall, if
want
you're
to
gonna
give
be
y'all some
around
background.
Sunday, bro. If you're gonna be around Sunday, I'm gonna be there.
Yeah, so I want to give y'all a little background on the Council of Kings because I know you guys will appreciate that. So we added 4 new members of the Clutch Corner. 3 of them are black, and one of them is Simba. So the 3 guys, it was like all of them are Kings, and so it was like now we have a Council of Kings in the 5 Reasons Sports Network, and yes, it is all the black guys. So
And yes, it is a reference to Loki.
yes, it is,
and also
yes,
play on the word Kings. Yes, it is. I appreciate it. It's all the plays. It's all the plays. I love it. I love it. Also, Alfredo, thank you for being here. We want Alf. Listen, bro. You ask us, we will send you the link. If you put another chat in
Alf,
here,
you want to come on, bro?
yeah.
Come on, Alf.
You say I want the link,
on.
we will send you the link. We got you on Twitter, text, whatever we got to. Just let us know. But it has been a busy week. It is week 2. No, still week 1. Still week 1 of training camp. I don't know why I thought it was week 2 already. This week has gone very slowly for me. But the Dolphins are ramped up. They're all padded up. As of yesterday, they did their first padded practice. Before we get into any other specifics, I wanted to throw it over to Kai. Kai, you were at yesterday's practice, right?
Yes,
Give
I
us
was.
some of that immediate access that Royal and I can't really give the people because we weren't there. Oh, it is week 2, according to Alfredo. You see?
I was gonna say, as Alf mentioned, it is week 2. It's just this is the first time that we're gonna have pads on. So they had pads on yesterday, and they had pads on today. Juan was there today. I know Alf was there today. So Alf, just as I'm stating this, I'm sending you a link if you want to come and join on, because of course we always love to bring.
Don't have to though. We don't want to abuse
on.
him. He's been on like every week. Poor guy.
Exactly. So you don't have to, Alf. But I know you love the show, so I sent you on Twitter in case you want to come in. But like honestly, the practice yesterday, Monday's practice was extremely boring. Or Tuesday's practice, sorry, was extremely boring to watch. Like one of the things that I came away with, honestly, one, I wanted to watch punting and kicking. Didn't get that. Apparently today, Pilardi lit it up again, which is like great for me because of course it's like the one thing I want to see didn't get through. And so that kind of sucked. But I was able to get some good pictures there yesterday, which was cool. Obviously, I focused on kind of the picture side of things just because I like doing that stuff. But from a practice point of view, I mean, it was a pretty boring practice. A lot of things that I came away with, and something that me and Juan were continuing to say to each other as we're, sitting there watching practice happening on Tuesday, was that the offensive line was just getting absolutely destroyed. I mean, the defensive line was destroying them when they went into goal line drills. Trying to jog my memory right now. When they were doing some goal line stuff, they were just getting dominated. Multiple stops where they were trying to run. And it seemed like a lot of that, like, and correct me if I'm wrong, just because this is the first time that I've been to a Dolphins practice just in general. Mm-hmm. So correct me if I'm wrong, Al, for anyone else. They were doing a lot of run plays. It was a lot of running, not a lot of deep passing plays like we had kind of seen last week. And I guess today there was a lot of more passing plays, and a lot of the passing plays that kind of were happening. I mean, Tua had rolled out left at one point on the far side of the field, and he kind of was going out there and trying to complete a pass. Like we didn't see a lot of passing plays on Tuesday. A lot of it was just running the football. And I got to be honest with you, it was just kind of a boring practice. The thing that came away with it, and obviously the topic of conversation the entire time yesterday, was the offensive line just got manhandled. I mean, they literally got their shit rocked. Like, let's just be honest.
And I mean, the offensive line actually is the first thing we wanted to talk about. So fantastic segue on your part. So we've seen multiple different starting offensive lines in training camp as to what's been reported, right? What's been reported is some days this will be the starting lineup, and then another day it'll be different. Some of the consistent players on that starting offensive line have been Austin Jackson at left tackle, which I think all of us were expecting. Robert
He
Hunt.
got worked on a play yesterday, too.
Oh,
I'm
did
trying
he?
to find the picture because I have a picture of it. He got worked.
And then Robert Hunt at right guard. He's been playing right guard. And then center Michael Dieter. So I'm going to start there before we even get into the other two. Royal, I know you were here for the draft stuff. You were part of the group like the rest of us that thought, the Dolphins could really use a center. Although they went out and got Matt Skura, who I think they should give him a chance. Apparently, there's something about Matt Skura that they're just not very fond of, as Matt Skura hasn't really been able to play first-team center much yet, at least according to what's been reported. Are you worried about that position if they're having to go with somebody like Michael Dieter instead of Matt Skura?
No, for sure. I think when you're trying to build a team that, from what Kai's talking about, looks like they want to run the ball, then the offensive line is going to be vitally important to that. And then you got a guy in Matt Skura who, it was a position that most of us were worried about going into the draft, which was center. It's the biggest need on this team. And just, you would hope that he'd step up and give them something from the position. But watching, from what Kai's describing, it's like nothing that they're doing is working. Like they're throwing everything at it and it's not working. But I had a quick question that's kind of like a detour. Is it that the offensive line is bad, or is it that the defensive line is that much better now than it was last year that they're dominating the line, Kai?
I mean, I'm sure it has a bit to do with let's be real. The offensive line for the Dolphins was supposed to take a step last year, especially considering the guys that they drafted, and it didn't really happen. They were supposed to take a step up this year, and we didn't really see it either, at least in the first two practices. And I guess one of the things that people have been hammering home, and I guess something that I would also want to hammer home, kind of continue to go, is like, first of all, and I might get killed from one aspect of it. I know we'll talk about Tua later, but at the same time, it is practice. You can only see so much on practice from what you can see on the actual field and what you can see happen going, all of these, I guess, again, like the best way to put it is there's not as much as you can see from an actual game as you can in practice, but they were just getting absolutely worked. I mean, that's what it just consistently was being, is they were just getting worked on a lot of the plays that they had. And I know Alf can bring in some of his own knowledge. I'm not sure if he's already here considering his
I don't know. I don't know how much you've heard on the Alfredo. I'm assuming we can hear you and you can hear us. We're talking about the offensive line and some of the struggles that people have been talking about. Do you see the offensive line is struggling lately? And are you surprised as to the starting, and I put that in quotations because of course it's not necessarily starting, but starting offensive lines that they've been throwing out there?
Well, yeah, they're trying to break in a new left guard, a new right tackle, and then today Jesse Davis left after 2 snaps. It seemed like he had it was just like an off day, like they just gave him the day off. And then they started playing a guy who was a 7th round pick, Larnell Coleman, played almost every single snap at right tackle today. So they're breaking in new guys at left guard, at center, and right tackle, and they're going up against one of the best defensive lines in football, period. And when you think about the interior defensive tackles on the Dolphins, Wilkins, Sealer, Raekwon Davis, and now Adam Butler, they're absolutely stacked there. They're going to get their ass kicked, and that's exactly what you saw on Tuesday.
Well, and especially in a practice setting, and this is just going to be my hunch here, correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like in a practice setting, it's going to be a lot easier for the defensive line, especially because they have a much better idea as to what kind of plays the offense is going to be running. And so they're just going to pin their ears back and do what they got to do, right? They're just going to bull rush if they got to. They're going to get to the quarterback if that's what the play is dictating, and then they're going to back off a little bit. But I feel like defensive line has an edge regardless of skill when it comes to a practice scenario like this one.
Yeah, and on Tuesday, that just wasn't fair. If you think about it, it was mostly goal line, so they knew what was essentially coming. Because if you remember, Kai was there, so he'll remember. There was one play where they went play action, and I believe it was Tua found, who was it? Hunter Long wide open in the back of the end zone.
I think it was
wide open.
I think it was Brissett.
It was Brissett that found Hunter Long, right?
Yeah.
And he was wide open with nobody around him, right?
On like the left side of the end zone, yeah.
So that tells you what the defense was thinking. They were just pinning their ears back to just, to beat up on that young offensive line and on those running backs.
And I'm sure they're having a good time doing it too. Listen, let's all be honest. In a football setting, if you can be a bully, you're going to decide to be a bully, especially as a defensive lineman, right? Defensive or offensive lineman, that should be your goal, is to bully the person in front of you. And right now, the defensive line has people that are much more ready for it than the offensive line. I know we've also talked about, Simba asked it here, is it time to worry about Solomon Kinley? And that is one I'm a bit surprised with, just because Solomon Kinley started, I think it was every game last year. If not, he might have only missed like one game that he didn't start. But Solomon Kinley seemed pretty consistent, and I was actually a really big fan of his. Why do you think they're kind of dropping him on the depth chart, Al?
I have no idea. I know for a fact that in the offseason, he got a little bit heavy and didn't pass his initial conditioning test. But supposedly he's there, right? So if he's there, they're letting him practice. And if they're letting him practice, he's in uniform and he's playing. He did pass his conditioning test. So he's somehow in the doghouse. But I think he's the key to unlocking what they wanted to have on that offensive line. Because if he's not there, then that's a step in the wrong direction on the offensive line. Because that means that your fourth rounder from last year that played a lot is not going to be a contributor this year. So that means you made a mistake. And if you made a mistake there and you're going to play Liam Eichenberg at left guard, then you made a trade in the second round to move up to take a left guard. Yeah, that's not usually what successful NFL teams do. So initially what you wanted was Solomon Kinley to take over at left guard, Liam Eichenberg to take over at right tackle, and that would have given you a lot of depth with Jesse Davis that can back up all of them, right? Not so far.
Bro, you look like you were raring up to say something.
I was just about to ask him if the plan was to start Eichenberg at right tackle. I think that's to his point. That is a big part of what's going wrong here. It's the fact that they can't do what they want to do in terms of that offensive line. And if they can't get to it, for whatever reason it is, if they can't get to it, then there's no way for them to see what they actually have in this team, because they don't know whether or not they can protect Tua, and whether or not they're going to need to use the run, whether or not they're going to need to use the run game, or if they can run the ball at all. So I think that's going to be very important to see if at some point during this camp that they can get to the lineup that they want and then try and evaluate from there.
Yeah, and like I said, I was a really big fan of Solomon Kinley's. I followed him really closely, admittedly, because in Madden, I thought he got a really bad rap. He had a horrible rating for a guy who was starting from week one and started consistently through the rest of the season. I think he was one of the biggest risers on the team in terms of overall. I thought he played really solid, despite what many others, ESPN, might have said about him. So I was a bit confused when I was hearing that Solomon Kinley wasn't starting at left guard, because it just seemed like a natural fit. But I think one thing we also have to transition to and talk about is the unfortunate nature of our wide receiver room. Now, I know none of us are excited to talk about this, but we talked about it before, and we've said that wide receiver room has a bit of a history with injuries. And by a bit, I mean a very, very long sheet, a CVS receipt of injuries, if you will. Royal, just because I know you're a little bit more familiar with this topic as well, in terms of the wide receivers and their injuries and whatnot, I'll let you go first.
Yeah, all of them are hurt, and we should have expected this. I don't. This doesn't surprise me in the least bit. And as you guys know, I'm the least Dolphin fan here, but as we know, next year I will officially become a full-time fan, so I can do some sunshine pumping then. But
you should have been a fan this year, but Aaron Rodgers kept
my
you
wife
hooked.
My wife is giving me the evil eye from the kitchen as we speak. But no, like I think this is par for the course with the group of receivers that we have. Devontae Parker, Will Fuller, Preston Williams, they all get dinged up. That's what they do. And that's how you have the Isaiah Fords of the world, the 19s of the world out here playing. And so, I mean, good luck to Jalen Waddle. At least he's holding up. But hopefully that can remain the case. Otherwise, it looks like it's going to be more bad luck at that position for the Dolphins.
Yeah, Kai, any thoughts on the wide receivers and these unfortunate missed practices?
I mean, again, and this is actually, I want to bring this up. It's funny because I guess how a lot of people and ourselves have kind of been saying as well, because, we did our roster prediction and we mentioned how none of us, I think, had Albert Wilson on. Well, I mean, let's be real. In the confirmed 2 out of 3, you get what I'm saying.
No, I know, but I did. And so was it Simon with you guys on 3 wide PC, Alfredo?
Yeah, but we also looked at it a little bit differently. Like CK, we just finished recording our podcast, so our podcast is up right now. It just finished dropping, and CK looked at it a little bit differently. I think the way he looked at it, half glass, a glass half full. But think about it. Like, what were we talking about this wide receiver core going in? The depth, right? Mm-hmm. Well, they're flexing that depth right now with Albert Wilson and Jalen Waddle putting up these numbers in training camp. So.
Yep.
it's working for them. And by the way, Devontae Parker did return today, looked great.
Right.
In the plays that he was in.
Wasn't he there yesterday as well?
Hasn't looked horrible either. I don't think. Like Alan Hearns had a couple plays yesterday.
Yeah, Alan Hearns looked all right yesterday. Devontae Parker yesterday was in one-on-one drills, but no contact.
Okay.
Today he was full contact.
All right,
and his first snap, by the way, was a 25-yard in cut from Tua. So
oof, turn me up. Kai, you were saying something about the receivers though, sorry?
No, I think it's just like it kind of shows is you have some guys that we even wrote off like an Alan Hearns. Like he didn't, it's just because even now as I'm going through a lot of the pictures I took yesterday of some of the things that were happening kind of towards the goal line, it's like I feel like it's 2 or 3 straight plays that went to Alan Hearns. Then one of them was a touchdown, and it's just kind of like thinking about how. I can't remember exactly when it was where we were all like, oh, the Dolphins have one of the best receiving cores. It was probably 2 or 3 years ago when Dolphins fans were kind of shouting that out, and we were getting flamed all over the world because it was a horrible take. But I mean, it goes to show that you have guys that you're, hopefully going to want to have as depth and hopefully going to want to continue to have in case something does happen. I mean, going down, I know people were talking about Kirk Merritt today. You have Alan Hearns, you have Mac Hollins, Jakeem 19, Will Fuller, who's injured, obviously, Robert Foster, Isaiah Ford, who's wearing 20 for some reason, Devontae Parker, Jalen Waddle, Albert Wilson. So, I mean, there are still guys, and I guess Albert Wilson, to everyone's credit, in at least the past week and a half, and Alf, I want to get your takes on this as well. I think a lot of people have just continued to look at that and said, wow, Albert Wilson just won his way back onto the team, at least in the eyes of other people who had completely written him off.
Oh, absolutely. Like you can't have back-to-back 65-yard touchdowns in consecutive days and then have another 40-yarder and then catch like 6 balls the following day. And even today he had a huge play and then he dropped a big comeback. You can't be playing the way that Albert Wilson is playing and then not have it mean anything. I think he's moved from the bubble to maybe the starting lineup. So
dang.
I mean, and he did look good coming off of his hip injury towards the back end of the last season that he had played before, opting out last season. Like it wasn't like he completely. I mean, it looked like at least he was coming a little bit to form, right? The 5-11 season.
Oh, he did
this past one.
Well,
yeah,
he
absolutely.
got because I think he might have been hurt at the beginning for a little bit. Then he came in, and then he got hurt again. But I mean, Albert Wilson, I've been a fan of his game. It's just again the health has been the concern there. But that's not really anything that we can't say about any of the other wide receivers. I mean, one of the healthiest guys in that room is Jalen Waddle, and Jalen Waddle previously had, the injury in Alabama. I think it was the ankle that he broke. Yeah. So, I mean, there's just a lot of things going on, but I think this is the one that I really want to know because I'm getting a bunch of different reports and not completely different, but some people are saying Jalen Waddle looks amazing, right? And that speed is just completely different. Other people are saying that Jalen Waddle looks good, but it's practice. We got to kind of relax and everything. Does Jalen Waddle look to you, Alfredo, like the guy that should have been taken at that pick? Because from what I've heard from some people, he does, and from other people, it's like, he's a good wide receiver. There are others playing better. He
looks like a star. He looks like every bit of what everybody said about him. And if you remember, I wasn't a Waddle guy. I like Devonta Smith. I like the guy who's injured right now for Philadelphia.
Right.
So that's who I liked.
He would have fit in here.
Yeah,
perfect.
But they decided, you know what? Actually it does, right? If it would have fit perfectly with Devonta Smith. Yeah. But they went with the guy that was going to fit their offense. And so far, he's to a security blanket. And what a security blanket it is, man. Like, if you could get him out in space and he do the rest, like, that's what you want, right? Like, you want your quarterback to get some of those cheap touchdowns. Mm-hmm. And Waddle's been giving it to him all camp. And today, he had a great play on 11. It was from the 15-yard line. They went with an all-out blitz on Tua, and Tua just threw the short crosser, and Waddle did the rest. He beat 2 guys to the end zone, touchdown from 15 yards out. That's what you want. Yeah. He looks like a star, and at this point, he looks like a guy that's going to get the ball a lot, and he seems extremely important to this offense.
I've never been a fan. Oh, yeah. No, go.
I got 2 things. So, to the Waddle thing, like, I don't think many of those other first-round receivers have looked all that great either in camp. From what I'm hearing, Jamar Chase isn't looking that great over there with the Bengals. Yeah, the only other one, Kyle Pitts, he's an animal, bro. Like,
Yeah.
But the rest of the wide receivers, the first round receivers, aren't doing what Waddle is doing.
How's Kadarius Toney looking, Kai?
Didn't Kadarius Toney has something that happened yesterday?
Hey, he got hurt again?
Did he get hurt again? I've been out of it today. That's why I'm asking. Did he get hurt again for real?
I don't know.
My second thing is I want to circle back around to the Albert Wilson conversation, and I know this is a touchy subject for you diehard Dolphins fans, but is his case being helped by the fact that X isn't on the field and that he's going against wide receivers or cornerbacks that are not,
I don't think he was really going to be going up against the X much anyways in practice, considering that X is going to play much more outside and Albert Wilson is going to play a much more inside slot role. But Alfredo, absolutely correct me. I don't think they would have faced each other much anyways. I don't think Xavier Howard's absence from practice is really making Albert Wilson look good.
I'm just saying, I guess my point is that it's a weakened secondary. Like, it's not as good as it could be. So Albert Wilson could be taking advantage of that. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Alfredo. You have the eyes that I don't for this game.
Oh, that's absolutely right. Like, that actually is happening because the guys that are getting beat are not named Byron Jones, although he's given up a play or two, and Nick Needham is not getting beat. It's basically everybody else that's getting beat, and Tua's finding him, and that's kind of what you want, though. Like, you want Tua to identify the weak links and then attack them, and he's been doing that since the start of training camp,
which is good to see. I mean, I'm very excited, and I know it's not necessarily on our rundown. We'll talk about some other people, but I'm going to move forward to number 3. And I'm going to bring up a picture that's just very upsetting. And that is this one.
Oh, God.
Okay. First of all, that face just angers me. And look at why we shouldn't buy into the training camp hype around Tua. You know what we should all think about Colin Cowherd? I think there's one very simple thing that we should all think about Colin Cowherd. Stupid. That's it. That's all there is to it. I mean, look, I understand it's practice. You don't want to get too high or too low, but you got to give Tua credit for coming out and playing strong, even if it is practice. No, Kai, you were out there. You saw him. Wait, what?
No, you do not have to give him credit. Tua hate brings in ratings. Colin Cowherd is not in the business of analysis. He is in the business of ratings. It is an Alabama quarterback that you get much more views if you're talking shit about him as opposed to giving him his rightful respect. No, that's what Colin Cowherd is doing.
So you're pro Cowherd?
Hell no. Were you listening to anything I said, Michael Christian?
No.
I rarely do. Cowherd and lost 4 viewers. Anyway, so with Tua, there's a couple of pictures that I had loaded up that I took yesterday and want to kind of show. I hope that the first picture I bring up is a Tua picture because a lot of them look kind of the same. Oh yeah, well, there's a couple. So like I did. There wasn't a lot that I could take it to, honestly, and I think Alf might be able to back this up a little bit in saying like there were some times or a lot of times yesterday where Tua was kind of on like the far side of the field, on the second practice field, more so away from all of us than he was closer. There was a few times during the goal line, and then at one point where they were backed up at their own 1, where the whole field or the whole team was on the near side towards the fans and towards the media. But most of the time, I felt like him, and Jacoby were on that far side field. Even at one point, it looked like, Jacoby and Reed Sinet were running plays towards us, and Tua was still just out there back. But I tried taking a couple of things, not a lot that I could, really get, but a couple. I know this one is one that went like a touchdown that went to Allen Hurns. This one, I believe, was an overthrow that happened in the back of the end zone, and then some offensive line stuff. But like a lot of it, I tried getting stuff with Tua, but there wasn't much that I could really get. This one was also to Allen Hurns there. But I mean, hey, don't you want to see that he's at least doing better? And Alf, I guess it's another question for you, or just kind of how I feel and how I think a lot more people should feel is just like, again, the dude went through, and I guess some people could say no excuse because of Justin Herbert, and some Justin Herbert stands are extremely weird. As some Tua stands are extremely weird. Look, I gotta admit how it is.
And say hello to the Trey Lance stands. That we have a new shooter now.
It's very insane. But you want to see that progression. You want to see the fact that he's actually making plays out there in training camp and actually doing things rather than hearing some horrible things that you can't hear. I mean, Zach Wilson's first 2 or 3 days were absolutely horrendous. I mean, that's all the talk that was happening. I think Trevor Lawrence had a bad day either today or yesterday, like where it's talking about kind of, oh, you know, but then those people want to say don't put too much into practice because it's practice, but that's when they have bad days. But I guarantee
Bengals
you,
fans,
just like you're saying.
By the way, Bengals fans are freaking out because Joe Burrows look like trash.
But you see, it's like
because he's spooked back there in that backfield with that offensive line, bro. Like they are on his ass like white on rice.
I tore my ACL like that too.
No, wait.
I see my Zach Wilson propaganda is living strong.
Listen,
bro.
I was with you, bro. Zach Wilson looked like booty to me the whole time,
bro. You heard me.
I was not.
But you want to see, like, I mean, you want to be hearing that Tua is doing what you're expecting out of him. Again, I think that the thing that comes back with Tua all the time is this was the guy that was looked at as the most hyped up quarterback that we had in a long time. I get Trevor. Everyone's been talking about Trevor for years. But ever since he came in and won that national championship game at halftime for the Crimson Tide, he has been the talk of the town. It has been tank for Tua no matter what, just like it was suck for luck. Like it literally is one of the most hyped up quarterbacks. And I think everybody looked at him and said, barring the injury that happened, this is the guy that you take number one. Like this is the number one quarterback in the draft. And look, coming off of an injury, rehabbing, getting back quicker than he was supposed to be last season. Now you see that he's fully healthy and hopefully taking that year 2 jump and getting a command of the offense. And look, Chan Gailey's been slandered multiple times this week already. It's a good thing to see. I personally just think that it's a good thing to see, whether it's practice or whether it's not. I mean, I think it's great to see that this is what we're actually getting out of Tua, and hopefully it translates once we get onto the field, or even maybe in those joint practices that they're going to have against a couple of teams, where you actually at least see that same progression and hopefully you get a good year of him.
Well, absolutely. And I'll tell you one thing, that picture that you put of Colin Cowherd saying why you don't buy into the hype of training camp. If you watch, oh God, there it is. If you watch training camp, you watch practice, how can you not buy into it? It's a completely different offense, and the offense is tailor-made to what Tua Tagovailoa does best. And it's not what most people think that he's just throwing it, 5 yards over and over again, has a bunch of Alabama receivers running all over the place. That's not the way he plays. Mm-mm. He pushes the ball down the field. He's a good play action quarterback. He's good under pressure. He's good against the blitz. And he's been showing it so far. And you can't help but be excited of what we've seen so far.
Yep. And
it's different. It's just different.
And I think that's what a lot of people have been kind of talking about or kind of worried about is, you can't get too high about practice. You can't get too low. I agree with both of those takes. I don't think any of us are on here saying that Tua's had great practices, so that's it. We're good. Tua's made it. No, that's not what we're saying. But on the road to making it, on the road to getting to that conversation, you want to see him have good, solid practices. You want to see him go out there and perform better than people expected. And I think as of right now, for most people, he is performing better than expected. And that's exactly what you want to see. He's going out there. He's being a leader. I saw they put out the mic'd up video of him. I loved that. I mean, it was very short glimpses because they really couldn't show much. But it looked like a guy that was... Huh?
About him being an Olympic golfer?
No. They put the Dolphins tweeted out a video of him mic'd up at practice.
The FBI.
Yeah. Oh. And so it's just good to see him out there being a leader, and it's exciting.
So, Michael, I think you mischaracterized a couple of things. When you said that we're not on here with the Tua propaganda, bullshit, I am. Tua VP. I don't know if that's a thing yet, but it's going to become a thing. Tua is going to make a leap this year. I don't care if I'm wrong. It's not my team anyway. But I like what I'm seeing from Tua during the training camp. I like seeing him progress, and I want to see him succeed because so many people want to see him fail. To Al's point, I don't think many people understand what Tua is as a quarterback. They want to make these bold declarations about him, the accuracy. They want to make him Chad Pennington, and that's not who he is. Like, Tua is a man-child of a football player. He's always been dominant at the game, and I don't see any reason why he can't be at this level being fully healthy and with an offense catered to the things that he does well.
Well, and he is the focal point of this entire offseason. He's the focal point of the entire team, and however he does is the way this team will go in terms of reaching expectations or not. And it was actually cool watching Cameron Wolfe. For anybody who was following Cameron Wolfe, who did Dolphin stuff with ESPN, he just got a job with NFL Network. And yeah, Cameron Wolfe is one of the really good ones. I loved following him, and I'm going to continue to follow him. I think he's a fantastic listen. Alfredo, you've had a chance to meet Cameron, haven't you?
Yeah, plenty of times for going on 3 years already. Yeah, he's a good guy, and I was seeing him out there. It's also pretty cool that now that he's with NFL Network, he gets to go in before the rest of us, which is because he's an NFL employee now.
Oh,
So his credential got upgraded from one day to the next just by changing jobs.
Yep.
hey, good for him, man. I love Cam Wolf. I'm fully. There's some beat writers and some people that I have kind of a hard time listening to. Cam Wolf is definitely not one of those guys, so I'm very happy for him. If we go to kind of the flip side of all this, right? A player who's doing well and everybody's kind of happy with, we're talking about Tua. We go to a player that's struggling a little bit. Okay.
Well, actually, it might have something to do with it. You're going to talk about Noah, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a picture of Noah fielding kicks yesterday, and I was going to ask Alf his thoughts on this just because they had him, Jalen, and 19 fielding kicks yesterday.
Ooh, what are those? Wait, what are those umbrella seats?
I wanted to sit there and I would have gotten such better pictures, but Juan wanted to sit up in the bleachers. It is what it is.
Boo.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, he like you were gonna say, he's looked kind of bad. But what do we make really quick, Alf, of him going back there and returning kicks? And the same thing with 19 and Jalen.
That might be his only goddamn job this year.
Yes, like that's probably it. Last year, if you remember, Noah Benogany had a few returns.
Yep.
But this year, they're just finding things for him to do. He started camp as the starting left cornerback in place of Xavier Howard. Then he got busted down to second string, and now he's on the second team. But they're not even asking him to play in the nickel or even in the dime defense. So, like, he's been busted down the depth chart.
So it's been Nick that's been taking those snaps.
Yeah, Nick Needham is the starter in
Nick
base.
And Byron.
Yeah, Nick Needham is the starter in base, and when they go to nickel, Nick Needham moves into the slot, and then Jason McCourty takes over his boundary spot.
Not Coleman.
No.
Okay.
Dude, Coleman is competing yesterday.
Justin Coleman is competing with Nick Needham, and he's going to lose that battle because Nick Needham is having a really, really good camp. Let me touch on one thing that I don't know if you guys know about. Did you guys hear about what happened with Vince Biegel today?
No, I know that Van Ginkel got hurt, but I don't know anything about Biegel.
Well, Vince Biegel had played a lot of snaps, and toward the end of practice, he came in off of the corner on Larnell Coleman and got a hit on Tua Tagovailoa. And he got sent off the field. He had to run off the field, and then they sent him into the locker room. But then he came out and he had a picture with his baby girl. It was a mistake, but he did hit Tua Tagovailoa, and the coach, Brian Flores, didn't like it too much. On our podcast, Chris Kaufman reminded me. Do you remember the one Dolphin player that tweeted out a Photoshop of Deshaun Watson in a Dolphin uniform? And who it was?
Oh, true.
It was Vince Biegel. So could it have been that Vince Biegel was actually trying to make it happen today?
That's why wasn't Yo, listen.
Oh, there you go.
Alejandro is always on top of it, bro. But what was it? Vince Biegel? There was another player though that he got cut completely by his team. Was it the Panthers?
Yesterday, the Panthers. Yeah. He got cut 30 minutes after that hit.
That hit was disgusting.
It's this, and I kept saying it, and I think it's something. I guess maybe you can attack. Obviously not being there, Alf. I want to know your opinion on kind of how the hit was and everything like that. But I feel like it's always you hear that thing of learn how to practice, and there are a lot of NFL players who have come out previously after their careers and have talked about that. Learn how to practice. You have to learn how to practice before you can do anything else, because guys will try to come out there and they'll try to lay a hit on a guy, or they'll try to prove a point or do something that you can catch back on film or something in practice. And they risk the chance of injuring someone, or God forbid, like happened yesterday, put someone on a stretcher and they get cut immediately. Like, do you think that, like, you think it was just like an honest mistake from Vince Biegel, and it's just kind of, you have to kind of learn you can't do that right now, especially not for a guy like Tua who's supposed to be the franchise?
Yeah, it was an honest mistake. It was Vince Biegel. For those who have watched all of camp, Vince Biegel has had a rough camp. He's had a tough time. Today, because Andrew Van Ginkel sat out most of practice and Jalen Phillips was on the bike, although he looks fine because he keeps running up and down the field and celebrating with everybody, but he's not.
He was also
playing.
he ran out yesterday and back into the locker room, it seemed like, and then came back about like 5 minutes later as well, which was very interesting.
That's another funny story. Xavier Howard today ran out of the locker room, jogged out of the locker room, then I guess remembered that he's supposed to have a bad ankle, and then all of a sudden you see that he caught himself and he started walking again. You know what I mean? But yeah, Vince Biegel, you could tell that he was a bit frustrated today, so he was going like extra hard. Like he was saying, you know what? I'm going to take it out on this rookie right tackle, and I'm going to give him 100% of what I got. And he was going hard. And on that rush, he went hard. And the problem was that once he got past the corner, Larnell Coleman couldn't hold him anymore. And guess who's right in front of him? Tua Tagovailoa. So it's one of those like, whoa, like there's no way I can stop. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
And I'm just gonna, bump into you, and then Tua's gonna go to the ground. That's all that really happened. It was a mistake, but it was just, it was an end going really, really hard at a right tackle, I guess trying to prove a point, and then, it's just an unfortunate mistake.
It is what it is. Okay, cool.
I mean, it's one of those things that's hard to kind of stop too, right? Because that's always been the tough thing to me about practice. Like, I'm fine with the quarterback not getting hurt. You definitely don't want to do that. But to tell your guys, go hard after him 100% and then stop, right? And then you get to a game and you have to go 100% after the other guy. It's like switching that mentality back and forth all the time. I'm sure, especially for a guy like Vince Biegel, who hasn't played in over a year, he's ready to go. Like, he's ready to hit somebody. And I'm sure he didn't mean to. It's funny it was him, but I don't know. That'd be kind of crazy if he was like, let's go get a new quarterback, guys. I'll make it happen.
You think he makes the team, Alf?
Man, he's up against it because they're really, really deep on the edge. But he's a useful player. Last time we saw him play, he was pretty good, right? So I guess he has an opportunity. He has 2 practices. He has the joint practices with the Bears next week, and then the joint practices with the Falcons the following week. And he has those 2 preseason games. So he could remind coaches, look, this is why I was a starter before I got injured. And I might be a useful player going forward. So he has every opportunity, but he's up against it. Absolutely.
I got a question. Jalen Waddle aside, who has been the most impressive rookie at camp to each one of you?
Javon Holland, and it's not.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say Javon
Holland. I don't even know if there's another rookie any of us would really name as impressive.
What about Eichenberg? I don't know this man's name.
Please call him Eichenberger. That makes me feel a lot better about him.
Okay, Eichenberger.
So I think with Javon Holland, I remember right before we got in here and we started off, Michael was asking me kind of because it was something with Javon Holland, and I was like, dude, that guy looks like a beast. Like, he just looks like he's going to be like a hell of a draft pick. And I don't remember exactly how or what we were told what happened, because remember, everyone was trying to say the Dolphins were moving up for a running back. If they were trying to move up for a running back there in the second round and then they failed and Javon Holland landed to them, I think that's perfect. Like, I'm so completely fine with that and love that even happened.
Yeah, Javon Holland today was on first team install, and he played a lot of snaps, and he just looks like a guy that's going to become a starter. Now, as far as other rookies, you can't give Hunter Long any short change. He's been good, and ever since
COVID situation.
Yeah, I forgot what Simon called it. But he had a funny name for it. But yeah, our entire tight end room has COVID, so we have no tight ends left. Although we have 10 on the roster, we have no tight ends left. So today, what they had to do was, hey, Hunter Long, rookie, get out there with Durham Smythe, and you 2 guys are going to be our tight ends today, and they look pretty good. So I think they got a long look, and there was one great play by Tua hooking up with Hunter Long on a scramble drill. That play was probably the play of the day. So. Yeah, that's another guy. This could be a really, really good draft class if it all shakes out the way we think it could. But it has to somehow shake out with Liam Eichenberg at right tackle, because then everything makes sense.
It really has to. I think the offensive line right now, to me, is the biggest question. Obviously, aside from what's going to happen with the secondary and what's going to happen with X or not X. I mean, he's not at practice right now. He won't miss games if he's healthy, Alfredo, do you think he would be, and this is going to sound bad, but do you think he would be injured for games? He'll say, hey, my ankle injury is kind of acting up. I don't want to play in this game. I mean, they can't find him if it's an injury thing, right?
Well, he has to play to accrue a season. And the one thing he doesn't want to do is not accrue a season. But it's been a few days already of Brian Flores in his daily press conference saying the same thing, which is that contract talks are going in the right direction. Now, Ian Rappaport, who's pretty well plugged in, said that the Dolphins are asking that they're willing to trade him, but they're only willing to trade him if they get a ridiculous package for him. A Laramie Tunsil type. Yeah, a Laramie Tunsil type package. And that those offers are just not coming. So I think that they made a calculation and said, look, if we are going to trade him, let's get a massive haul. If we don't get a massive haul, we're going to keep him here. And we're going to play hardball with him because we can. So I think eventually something is going to get done. And he'll be here. And I think I was on your show a couple of weeks back where I said, I think he plays this year. And then he gets traded as soon as the season's over.
Which I think would be fine.
I know what's going to happen. Get your ass out there and guard Julio Jones. That's what's finna happen.
But I mean, that would be very interesting. When do we play the Titans?
It's toward the end of the year.
Oh, January 2nd. Well, let's hope he's healthy by then, because that is something that has not happened very often.
Whoever wide receiver one is for the first team that we play, you ain't getting traded.
Yeah, I mean, you really want him out there to help the defense. Preseason starts up not this Saturday, but the next one. Dolphins are playing against the Bears. That game is in Chicago, correct?
Yes. And on Wednesday, I have the entire schedule here. Hold on. Let me get it for you.
As he gets that really quick, because I do have pictures.
Ooh, photos.
Oh my god!
All right, this is the schedule.
Offensive line yesterday.
This is the schedule going into next week. There is no practice tomorrow, but there's practice on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Okay.
Then they're traveling on Monday and Tuesday, and then they're having joint practices in Chicago with the Bears on Wednesday and Thursday, and then the game is next Saturday.
The Bears. All right, so they're playing against the Bears.
And the following week, they do the same thing, except they're doing it down here, and they're having with the Falcons 2 days of joint practices.
When
which you can still get tickets for, by the way.
Yeah, when you're at the Falcons practices, are there more media members because now you're looking at two teams worth, or do they usually not travel for this kind of stuff?
There's gonna be double, and then you're gonna have also camera setups because NFL Network will have they'll televise most of those practices.
Okay,
so
which will be fun to watch.
Yeah, it's gonna have like a game feel, and and let me applaud the Dolphin fans. Man, they showed up this week for that Pads Day. That was a packed training facility. Like I've never seen so many people at a Dolphins training facility.
I mean, there's the video of Tua coming out and addressing the crowd, and they're loud, dude.
Yes. Yeah, and shout out to Shaquem Griffin, who comes out every single day to greet the fans. Every single day.
Dude, he was so like I think I have a couple pictures of him. I think I posted one of them on here. I hope that I did. I don't think I did. No, this is not them. He had come out and it's just something that he had, the energy that he was bringing. He was doing the special teams drills as well. I think you just can't help but notice him. Maybe for right or wrong reason at times, but I mean that dude. I love him.
I mean, he's just happy. He's just happy to be there, man. It's that kind of energy that you want out of guys. The guys that are like, listen, I love playing football. I want to go out there and play. That's what I want to do.
And he has a good shot. He has a really he has a really good shot at making. He has a really good shot at making
special teams, right?
Yeah, him and Brandon Scarlett have I'm pretty certain 100% participation on both punt teams and both kickoff teams.
I think I have a picture of that. Sorry, I'm I took a couple pictures of certain things. I think I have a picture of it. I'm not.
What don't you have a picture of, Kai? You know what you don't have a picture of? Michael Pilardi punting.
And in fact, if you break it down per unit, they worked on every single unit today. Like Shaquem Griffin is not on the field goal unit, and he's not on another special teams unit where they kept him out, and you could guess which one that is.
I have a guess, but I won't say it because I feel like we shouldn't be guessing. But I mean, Dolphins camp is going to continue to go. I think players are hopefully going to continue to get better. Of Pilardi?
No, I don't have a picture of Pilardi, you asshole.
Michael, you are so petty, bro.
What you talking about?
You can see Shaquem Griffin there. at least in the picture. There's like some special team stuff that was happening yesterday. You know, there's I don't know, some light stuff.
You know what? I will say too though. The fans probably showed it a lot too though because it's a new facility, right? It's closer.
I mean, it is. I almost drove to the old one. I think that's what it is. Like even yesterday, there were times where I felt, and maybe Alf, I don't know if you feel the same way, but there were some times on the Tuesday practice where, especially once the whole team was there, at certain moments it felt like the crowd was silent. Like in certain moments where they were waiting for something to happen, especially when like Reed Sinet hit Kirk Merritt, like and Kirk Merritt had dove for that pass there on the sideline. Like they were popping for everything. It didn't matter what was happening. It was that they were excited to watch this team because all they've heard is that this team is going up and up and up. And I think that's one of the reasons. Like there's just so much positive energy of this team. I think that everyone wants to be there. They want to be I mean, even looking now, just to try to look to see if I could get stuff for joint practice stuff and everything like that, there's a bunch of days that are sold out. And there's still ones that you can go out and get. But there were days that were sold out. There are things that were happening because people want to go and watch this team, whether it's even in the middle of a workday or not.
For sure.
Yeah, and it's so accessible and plenty of parking. And it's smack dab right next to the stadium in the middle of Miami Gardens. So everybody can get there, you know. And I don't know, did you try the concessions? Because, you know, since I'm a member of the media, they give me everything for free now.
Wow. Okay, listen, bro, you didn't have to flex so hard. Listen, but you know what?
I even got, by the way,
people were having burgers at 9:00 in the morning yesterday. It was really interesting. Or 9:30 in the morning.
Can you get concessions up where Juan is going to be at?
And by the way, I could
in the nosebleeds.
I can actually tell, and I could back up what Omar Kelly was saying on Tuesday. That ice cream sandwich that was given to us for free.
I knew you were going to say that.
For free, by the way, again, by Jason Jenkins. We're talking about the director of communications of the Miami Dolphins.
He's coming around handing you ice cream sandwiches?
Came around and handed me an ice cream sandwich. It was.
No, you got to give me your ticket, bro. Come on.
It was a graham cracker with cheesecake ice cream and almonds on it. And me, Omar Kelly, Joe Shad were all looking at each other saying, this is the best ice cream sandwich we've ever had.
Yo, that sounds delectable, Alfredo Arteaga.
Supposedly still in that practice with some gourmet ice cream.
Supposedly they were trying out that ice cream sandwich because they're gonna have it in the stadium this year. So I guess they were trying it out with the media.
Poisonous. They're like, anybody allergic? Yeah. Nope, we're good. Okay, guys, it's approved. It's approved. 3 media guys tried it and they didn't die.
I gotta go make that combo for myself.
Bro, I gotta go to practice. Practice got free ice cream cookie sandwiches. I gotta get down there. There are a bunch of tickets still available if you want to make it down to practice. It should be a good time. Everybody that's been says it's really fun. So absolutely try and go do that. Like I said, the Dolphins' first preseason game is August 14th. So we'll have more of a breakdown on that. And the start breakdown of, we should be able to watch some of the footage from the Chicago Bears Dolphins practices that are happening next week. Royal, I just want you to know something. Number one, thank you for coming on. Number two, now that I know that Jalen Waddle is going to be unstoppable in Madden, when we do our weekly matchup of that week's Dolphins game, know that is all I'm going to be doing. Dump off to Waddle, let him sprint to the end zone.
Know that there will always be a man lined up on Waddle, whether I'm in zone or man. There will be somebody assigned to him.
When you play, did you
guys ever see there was a series called the Breaking Madden series? Did you ever see that?
No.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Okay.
I did not see that.
So Kai knows what I'm talking about. You guys should do just like Breaking Madden and do an all Waddle versus all Waddle game.
Oh,
yeah.
I've seen people do stuff like that, and then every single player is
Jalen Waddle, and you just play against each other.
The time that it would take to build that roster would be much more than I'm willing to.
If anybody wants to build that roster for me, I'll do it.
Yeah,
if download off the community.
If you guys were on PC, I would do it for you, and it would be so quick. But
we're gonna be on PS5, right, Royal?
As soon as
get a PS5. It's been a year, homie.
Listen, bro, Xbox Series X. I got one of those already, and the PS5 doesn't drop as regularly. I'm going to get both, Kai.
Xbox Series X is absolutely. It's definitely not.
I'm never coming on this show again, Michael Christian.
On that note,
specs wise, it actually is better
for sure. Conscientism.
I'm gonna kick both of y'all asses out of the freaking stream.
As someone who's built a PC,
who cares? Go buy one.
Also, look, more photos. Look, it's more photos.
You just wanted to show off your photos. That's all you wanted. I love their helmets, though. The offensive line and defensive line, the
yeah.
padded ones.
That's a nice picture. You
Yes,
should
it
upload
is.
that one on the site, Kai.
Well, that's why I said yesterday when everyone was talking about the pictures or whatever, I was like, if anyone needs anything for pictures, I got you. And no one responded yesterday, but it's okay.
If you guys want to keep up with training camp, though, you can follow Alfredo, who's going to be there basically all the time. You can follow Juan, who's going to be there a decent amount of the time with a view that may or may not be worse than others. And Lewis, who's going to be there as well. He is in the comments right now.
which was a very interesting dynamic today because I was sitting in my media seat with nobody around me, because I'm allowed all that leg room. But right next to me, across the rope, was sitting Lewis and Juan.
Lewis and Juan? Wow.
They were sitting right next to me across. We were separated by a yellow rope.
I want to know how they let Juan into the building.
They were sitting in the poor people section. Like you were sitting in the lap of luxury, Alfredo Arteaga. Flex on these hoes.
That's true. They were right next to you, but they didn't have ice cream sandwiches.
No.
It's okay.
Well, Kai, you're gonna go sometimes. Relax. You're gonna go. You're gonna go.
I'll be there Sunday.
Okay, you'll be there Sunday.
I'll be there August
in the
19th
poor
as
people
well.
section. He's not eating what else is.
No ice cream sandwiches for you.
Royal. Hey, Royal, you doing something Sunday? You should come with me.
You think I'm finna drive 6 hours?
Look, bro.
Is it only 6 hours from Tallahassee?
I drive
Bro, it's more like 8.5.
I drive a different speed limit. That's suggested.
It's like
and our drink. By the way, our drinks they're in a cooler, right? And we get to choose from Mountain Dew, Diet Pepsi, green, blue, red, clear Gatorade, or water.
Who invited Alfredo onto the show?
You don't think that was like beer? Like if they would have beer, I'd be over there right now.
Alf. So yesterday, right when I got there, I pulled up at first of all, I didn't know.
Guys, we can talk about this after.
Wait,
though.
shut up.
I feel like Alfredo is talking to us with a monocle in his eye.
Yeah, no, he's sitting first class, right? Kai sits economy plus, and me and Roll in the back row next to the bathroom, right? As everybody walks by us, bro.
They put us in the trunk, Michael.
On the mention of beer, right? So I pulled up yesterday way too early because I didn't understand how close I was legitimately to the stadium and everything like that. So I get there, right? And the dudes that are right next to me, first of all, he had a Fitzmagic jersey, which was pretty cool. I thought that was awesome.
Don't you have a picture of him?
Yeah, but I already took it off. Anyways, so the second, I can add it really quickly. It's not that big of a deal. The second thing was he pulled up, him and his buddy, straight up just pulled up, got out of the car, started drinking beers, looked at me and goes, "You want a beer?" And I looked at my watch. I'm like, dude, it's 9 o'clock in the morning. No, I don't want a beer.
Hold on a second. Alfredo, they put the beers in the cooler while you're at practice. You have
this
one?
man had a beer for real. He just pulled up with his friend, had a beer. And then the security guard's right next to him, and he tells the security guard, "Listen, dude, there's no time too early to tailgate."
Yeah, no, I can't sneak in beers because I got to go through security.
Well, I know, but if they had some in the cooler, right? If they were giving you some in the cooler, would you have?
I'd be drinking beer up there.
Next thing you know, they're gonna put a hot tub in the media section just to see Alfredo in the hot tub watching practice, chilling with an ice cream sandwich and melting into the hot tub. Hey, thank you guys so much for coming on.
Yeah, it was funny. Somebody shout out to Travis and shout out to the Locked On Dolphins guy, Kyle Krabs, who both guys are great guys. And one guy was posting a picture of the three of us to say, "Oh, look who it is! It's Alf, Kyle, and Travis." And I was thinking to myself, this guy has the worst taste in celebrities. like
what? Alf,
really?
People pay to read your conversations, bro. You are a celebrity,
which is awesome.
Exactly. Take it where you can get it, bro.
I feel like
don't forget
trying to end the show for 20 minutes.
I really have. These are all conversations that we normally have off the scenes, but everybody can hear them. Cool. Next time we're going to charge you for these conversations, just like OnlyFins. Thank you guys so much for watching the show. Royal, thank you for coming on. Alfredo, thank you for coming on. As always, don't forget to follow all of these people, including Juan and Lewis, who will be at practices as well, along with Alfredo. And yes, that includes you, Kai. We will be back next week, hopefully with Juan. I hope everything is good with him and his family. You guys have a good rest of your night. And as I'm pulling up this video, I will draw it out. Fins up.